Effect hits you like a wave, a fresh new spin on the news you crave. Turn the page and you'll see the light, a different angle that feels so right. No more waiting for the truth to show. Every story starts to glow. Daily news in a way you didn't know. It's the Taz Effect that steals the show. Open your mind, let the colors flow. Daily news in a way you didn't know.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here for the Taz Effect daily news in a way you did not know you could use. For those listening in over the radio airwaves at gcpr.live, thank you for tuning in. And those listening and watching from all over the World Wide Web, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Thursday, and this week is already a doozy. But before we get deep into the thick of it, if you live in or around the Columbus, Ohio area, and you want to go out and get into some good trouble and correct a wrong, here's some information just for you. And if you know anybody in the Columbus, Ohio area that would like to correct a wrong, pass along the information. Here you go. Stop, look, listen.
Anything and everything you can do to help engage this video would be huge, and it would be so important to me. If you are in the Columbus area or would be willing to be in the Columbus area on February 22nd, I really need you to show up. On February 22nd, The Ohio State University is opening up a new hospital, and the namesake on that hospital is Leslie Wexner. For those of you who don't know, Leslie Wexner is one of the many people that are named in the Epstein files, except for the fact that he might be actually one of the main financiers of Jeffrey Epstein. So much so that Jeffrey Epstein bought multiple properties of Leslie Wexner's at ridiculous discounts, and even owned a property here in Ohio where one of his victims tells the story of what happened to them on the property in Ohio near Leslie Wexner with him and Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, Leslie Wexner is one of the richest people in Ohio. He founded Victoria's Secrets and a number of other brands that you will run into when you go to a mall. Well, that man is also the namesake on a number of buildings in Columbus, Ohio, owned by The Ohio State University, because this man has given lots of money to the university and been on the board of the university for many years, or had family members or legal services who have been on the board of The Ohio State University. And so this week, the largest nurses union in Ohio announced that they are going to protest at the grand opening on February 22nd of this new hospital to say that the university needs to take Leslie Wexner's name off of everything. And it's not just for hypotheticals, okay? Yes, there are definitely some huge questions with regards to the Epstein file, but there are direct responsibilities that Leslie Wexner failed at when he served on the board at The Ohio State University. Now, was Leslie Wexner responsible for those 30 years of Dr. Strauss? No, not at all. But Leslie Wexner was the board chair, head of the board, head of the university, when the university told the Ohio State Medical Board that they would do an internal investigation and get back to the medical board, that they didn't need to investigate anything, that they would do an internal investigation and then report out what they found out about Strauss, but they never did. Instead, what they did was quietly let Strauss go and tried to prevent anybody from ever finding any of this out. And understand, these are facts the university has admitted to. The university, through multiple presidents and multiple press releases, has admitted as much, that this did happen like this, that the university failed these students. And over the last 8 years, they've been trying to fight them now, because unfortunately, a university can say a lot of accountability and say how responsible they feel, but then legally still try and find loopholes to get out of it, which is what they've been doing with these survivors for over 8 years. Well, Leslie Wexner sat on the board when the university itself chose to try and hide this from the state medical board, and successfully did so. This doesn't even go into what happened at Abercrombie & Fitch. This doesn't even go into what happened at Victoria's Secrets. This doesn't even go into some of the weird letters that were sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Leslie Wexner that seem very much like absolute blackmail. And so February 22nd, as you can see, there will be a protest at the university at the grand opening of this event. This is the grand opening of this hospital. On top of that, just so you're aware, an OBGYN also who works at the university still, was on retainer from Jeffrey Epstein, is working at an OBGYN division or branch of that hospital. So on February 22nd, we will be protesting survivors of Dr. Richard Strauss, survivors of Epstein. The Ohio Nursing Union, the largest one in Ohio, will be there protesting to tell the university they need to remove Leslie Wexner from the buildings. They need to be done with it. Call it a day, move on. And so if you can make it, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll bring a bunch of beanies, and the first number of people who run into me, I'll have some hats and beanies, and I'll give them to you if you see me as a thank you for coming. I don't know how many I'll have. It's just first come, first serve. And I'll put the link to this hat there so that if you want to get it right now, you can. Do everything you can to engage this video. And if you know somebody in Columbus, Ohio, or you're willing to come to Columbus, Ohio on February 22nd, I would love to see you and be there and support. But you can support the idea of the protest itself by just engaging on this video. Liking it, commenting it, sharing it, telling people in Columbus to.
So once again, if you are in the Columbus, Ohio area, please show up and right the wrong. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of it all. And before you ask, for those that can see me, the background, the green screen, as always, available at Tazisms.com. Coming from alternate.org, PR war forces out top Trump mouthpieces amid unprecedented turbulence at DHS. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin is out after some very public clashes with the facts over the past few months, Politico reported Tuesday. Keep in mind, okay, Ms. McLaughlin has unapologetically put her face, her body, in front of the camera, gave every excuse in the book for all of the dastardly dealings of DHS. It's secretary, it's undersecretaries, it's under the desk secretaries. If you know, you know. And she still lost her job. Ooh, boy, they say thick as thieves, but they always forget to tell you there's no honor among them. There's no loyalty to either child. Now, excuse me. McLaughlin has been called out by name by attorneys of those who encountered immigration and customs enforcement and customs and border protection agents in Minnesota and Illinois. Thank you, DJ, because that's who they know. We know Kristi Noem isn't showing up doing her job. Tom Homan is too busy battling with Kristi Noem and trying to suck up to Trump so he can slide in and take Kristi Noem's job. Hey, Nana J. Excuse me. Okay, I don't know what's going on today. I guess I'm allergic to the BS coming out of DHS. So nobody's really doing their job. Frequently, McLaughlin falsely claims that the people harmed by ICE or CBP agents were attacking the agents or threatening them in some way. Videos have then come out showing the opposite is true, leaving many to question whether the agents lied to DHS or DHS was lying to the public. Both. It's not an either or. It's a both. It's a twofer. It's a BOGO. But here's the thing. Why is she out and not Tom Homan, not Kristi Noem, not the rest of them? Because, you know, Kristi Noem is a bird-legged hoe. I said Kristi. Okay, focus. Public opinion has soured on DHS since the shooting deaths of 2 people in Minneapolis, since 2 white people were shot. Because nobody cared about all the black and brown people that have died in custody. Nobody cared about the black men who were shot and killed. Nobody cared about the brown women who were targeted and then shot. Nobody cared about the brown pregnant women that were dragged out of cars. Okay. So TikTok, just a heads up, this live has been flagged for bullying and harassment. So if it does go down, you can go over to YouTube, GCPR, or TazJ77, or you can go over to Substack. Pick your poison. Public DHS was already suffering public outrage over the administration nabbing anyone and everyone it could, rather than what President Donald Trump Sr. promised in 2024, the worst of the worst. No, he promised mass deportations. They told y'all ahead of time, because you lied ahead of schedule to preemptively cover for Trump, that they wanted 1 million deportations a year. If you truly believe that we had 1 million criminals in this country, why are you here? And that question is specifically for that. If you don't like it here, then leave crowd. The White House set a 3,000 immigrant day quota for DHS, resulting in the arrest of gardeners, raids at construction sites, moms being snatched out of their front yard, and a number of those with valid visas, green cards, and more being mistakenly detained for months. Not mistakenly. It's not a mistake when you're intentionally racially profiling. You are saying that these people are the worst of the worst, that they are not paying taxes, that they're not working, that they're criminals, but you're not going to criminal court. You're going to immigration court. You're utilizing tax services records and IRS records, employment records to nab people. You're getting law-abiding citizens and picking them up off the street, but only the non-white ones, because you're not concerned about the more than 50,000 undocumented Irish immigrants in this country. You're not concerned about the tens of thousands from the UK. That complexion is showing to be very protective. Very protective. Just saying. Just saying. But it also goes to show that you can be loyal to the program as much as you want and still end up unemployed. So you might as well just tell the truth and do the right thing, because either way, you're going to be out of a job. Now coming from WFLA.com, almost 7 in 10 say Epstein files show powerful people rarely held accountable. Is it that powerful people are rarely held accountable, or white men are rarely held accountable? Because y'all will do everything and anything and describe things 1,000,001 ways to avoid having the conversation we need to have. Most Americans say they believe the files connected to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein show that wealthy, powerful people are rarely held accountable, according to a new Reuters/Ipsos poll released on Wednesday. Once again, is it the wealthy, or is it just white men? Because there are some broke bitches right now that slang and dangalang in places they should be slang and dangalang that are getting away scot-free. Y'all were quicker to snatch up, and rightfully so, arrest, detain in court, in jail, and prosecute Robert Kelly and Sean Combs, but drug your feet on Kevin Spacey, Weinstein, Epstein, Trump, Woody Allen, Bill Gates. Because if it's just the rich and powerful, why are there rich and powerful black men in prison? Y'all didn't waste any time taking old as dirt, Methuselah looking Bill Cosby up and through there. And I'm not saying that these people should not have been prosecuted. Do not confuse what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're going to center this conversation around the rich and the powerful, instead of the conversation that should be had, let's talk about the context. Let's put in all the nuance. And if the rich and powerful are getting away with so much, let's swim across the pond real quick. On his birthday, happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to him. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was locked up. They won't let him out. They won't let him out. He's locked up by his brother. His brother said on Valentine's Day that he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law if he is guilty, if the investigation proves that he did this. King Chuck the Cuck, he's a philanderer. He knows that he's a philanderer. They really never actually wanted to be king. He could wait to be king. And don't forget, that man is slowly dying of cancer, okay? But he said on Valentine's Day, like, I want my brother to testify before the U.S. Congress. If he has nothing to hide and he can prevent other people from being hurt and he can help other people be prosecuted and brought to justice, he should do it. Mandelson, stripped of everything. This is a U.S. thing. The United States has a bad habit of collectively covering for white men, giving white men 101 excuses. Even the most militant of the militant activists for their own melanated communities unwittingly, subconsciously give cover to egregious white men, because you always want to take it away from race, take it away from the protected class, which is white men. That is who this country was established to protect and propel. You cannot acknowledge that on one hand, and then on the other hand, act stupid and act as if it is a wealth problem. Because if that's the case, how come every single woman alive, regardless of how much she got in her pocketbook, knows a white man that raped somebody, that molested their own child, that's still walking free? If it was about money, why is it every other business month we hear about a judge looking at a white man, calling him a child, a teen, going, well, prison would be so bad for him, it would ruin his life, and he barely got 2 nickels to rub together? So can we stop framing things incorrectly? You want to know how we got this far? You want to know how the Epsteins of the world were able to walk around in plain sight and do what they did? Because let's not forget that while Virginia Roberts Giuffre was in the realm, the sphere of Epstein and Maxwell, they walked around with her publicly, took her to fairs, took her to amusement parks, introduced her to people as their child, while still doing sexually explicit things to her in public. Because you, the general public, you all are providing the cover-up for free. Let me run that back and repeat that for y'all, because y'all don't seem to get it. You, the general public, are running cover for free because y'all love good gossip. Y'all want to get all up in other people's business and then attribute the woes of people to any and everything when they have that Casper 8x11 copy paper complexion. And far too many of y'all are still holding on to the, well, times were different back then. There ain't been a time where this shit has been appropriate. You can tell yourself whatever the hell you want to tell yourself. It's always been inappropriate. It's always been wrong. You just don't want to vocalize that your grandfather been a pedophile. He was a pedophile when he pursued and married your grandma. He was a pedophile when he laid with your mama. He was a pedophile when he came to read you bedtime stories at night. Did you think he was going to stop being attracted and trying to stick his undercarriage up against underage girls because he married your grandma? No, he married your grandma so she could breed him continual victims. Huh? That's the conversation we should be having. Huh? That's what we need to be talking about. Not, oh, you know, they're rich and powerful. They're going to get away with it. Please explain to me how how Robert and Billy Bob down at the trailer park been getting away with this shit for 50 years, and they both make collectively $12.95 an hour. Because if it was only about people in power, the rest of us, quote unquote, brokies, would not have sexual abuse trauma. Huh? Huh? Because if you got to make a certain amount of money in order to do this and get away with it, no one else should have any trauma. We should all be untouched. Let me remind y'all, tagline of this show, daily news in a way you didn't know you could use. I'm not here to placate you. I'm not here to coddle you. Coddling is not going to move us forward. Huh? Huh? When your goal is to make history in sports, you want to make it to the Olympics, you want to make it to the Stanley Cup, the World Series, the Super Bowl, etc., right? You work hard. You exercise your body. You learn all of the plays. You want the nitty gritty. You want the truth of the matter. How do y'all think we're going to achieve equity and create a better society when we don't exercise properly and we keep coddling one another with damn lies? Y'all want to make a damn conspiracy theory out of everything. You want to give excuses to any and everybody, and then you sit back and go, I don't know how this happened. You wanted to run tell that about a lie you made up in your mind about Susie down the block instead of telling the truth about Gerard over there. You talk about the women who cover for the pedophiles, excluding yourself from the protection of the pedophiles. Huh? Huh? Because how many of y'all during surviving R. Kelly turned into victim blamers? Started pointing out all the girls you went to high school with that had grown-ass boyfriends, quote unquote. Huh? 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 See, y'all want to make you see. This is why I break things down to the original language, okay? Because we'll have 50,000 different words, phrases, sayings to all say the same damn thing. And we do that to take the onus off of what should be discussed and take the accountability away from who should be bearing that cross. Because ain't it funny when the victims are white? When the victims are white, you went, where's the parents? The parents sold that. You don't say that shit. You assume that when the vast majority of the victims are white, that only the rich white men would dare touch a pristine white girl. Bullshit. Bullshit. Ask a white woman, ask a white femme-presenting individual who has gone through drug addiction why they had that addiction. I'll wait. Y'all sit here and make fun of people talking about daddy issues, daddy issues, daddy issues. No, those are molestation issues. Because too often young children are taught that their only value is through their sexuality, how sexy they can be, how freaked out they can be. And before you say no, what is the quickest thing that you place value on when you're determining the worth of a woman? You want it, you constantly taking it. But when a woman or a femme-presenting individual takes control over her own body, you get pissed. You get pissed. But don't nobody want to talk about the damn mommy issues that run deeper. Because how many of the mamas knew what was going on? How many of the mamas and grandmamas that endured the same thing and offered up their own children so that they didn't have to endure it anymore? How many of the mamas was ready to fight their own daughters because they got jealous? They knew the trauma, but they still got jealous because at the end of the day, they have been conditioned that their only worth is sitting on their chest and sitting between their legs. But yes, let's say that the rich and powerful get away with it. Do they? Do they? Is that exclusive to the rich and powerful? Is it? Because Mystical is sitting in prison right now for sexual assault. Where's R. Kelly? Where's Diddy? Kevin Spacey did what? Weinstein is about to clock out from prison. Yeah. Albert Jr. is back in the news again for being a bad dad. Lauren's grandkid was running free in Colorado again. That one time, oops, is now a repeat offender. Here's the thing. Not making excuses for anybody. I'm not a fan of Lauren Boebert or her family. But that is generational dysfunction. Nobody was taught how to be a good parent. And let us not forget, we have to stop being one-sided because one parent has a bigger name, a bigger audience than the other. That's a problem on both sides. Because mama dearest, you know that you laid down with an ain't shit ass motherfucker. If your child was already caught in the street because they're not supervised, why aren't you petitioning the court again to not have your child there or to have supervised visits? Because when it came down to you wanting cold hard cash, you didn't have a problem finding an attorney to go to court. That's a two-way street. It takes at least two parents, at least two people agreed to lay down and do the oochie coochie wally wally. They looked at their pregnancy test and decided collectively, at least, that they were going to move forward and be in control of said child. And I say at least because polyamory exists. But just like I don't believe in putting everything on the mother's back, I don't believe in putting everything on the father's back either. And I've been married, raising children. I've been completely single and not dating, raising children. I've been a widower and raising children. And I've been dating and raising children. And at the end of the day, when I agree to take responsibility for another human being, good, bad, or indifferent until they are able to sustain themselves, I'm part of that responsible party. I'm part of that. Now, February, it does not seem to be a good time for anybody named Savannah. If your name is Savannah, I'm sorry. I suggest you make sure you write tight, deconstructing, and educated, because you're gonna have to be on a swift PR blitz for the people, the Savannah people. Okay, you got more power to you. Uh, Coming from Entertainment Weekly, The View co-host Shake Heads shut down Savannah Chrisley's false claim about AOC on air. No, no, no. But hey, stop platforming the problematic. I understand wanting to correct people in real time, but you got to leave people where they are. I need all of media to take a page out of Fox Entertainment News. And before y'all try to come out the bag at me, let's take a walk. Okay. Fox exclusively interviews people from their side. They're not really going to interview the opposition. If they do, they're not going to let you get a word in edgewise, and people know that. So people really aren't going. Stop platforming the people who have a platform. Talk to the people who are going to tell the truth. Talk to the people who are going to be informative and focus on them. Because when you're bringing the Chrisleys and the problematic people onto legitimate shows, you are legitimizing them. Let's keep going. During Savannah Chrisley's second day serving as guest co-host on The View, what the outside of being the creepy love interest of her father, what is Savannah Chrisley famous for? Dating a married man whose first wife tried to off him? Child. This week, the reality star was shut down by the permanent panelists over a false claim she made about Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because this brain dead bimbo is so used to people not correcting her and giving her a pat on the back. This is why I twisted my face up when Todd Chrisley got released from prison and separated from his real boo. And everybody's like, yeah, he's so woke. Did you hear what he was saying? Did you forget how his daughter got them out of prison? Where do you think she learned the damn tactics from? That apple didn't fall off the tree. The moment came at the top of Wednesday's broadcast as the co-host led the show's Hot Topics discussion about Ocasio-Cortez's heavily criticized handling of a question about Taiwan at the Munich Security Conference on February 13th, as Joy Behar countered pushback to AOC's response, which included the New York Congresswoman pausing for several moments during the scattered reply. She urged critics to focus on Donald Trump's multiple on-camera mishaps instead. Check him out before you start attacking AOC, the 83-year-old quipped. Mispronouncing a word is totally different than not knowing your position on Taiwan. What's important is how you recover from something. Trump, he's done things, and then he continued on with his speech, and then continued on to meet with world leaders. So the recovery is what matters. And AOC just didn't have a recovery. The Chrisley knows best personality said, while Behar stressed, he does it over and over again. How about that quantity? Moderator Whoopi Goldberg replied to Chrisley by stressing that Trump is the president and that she can put up with fumbled answers from Congresspeople because in that case, that's on you. But she can't take it from the guy who says he's the leader of the free world. And also, here's the thing. As the leader of the free world, as the sitting POTUS, you have more information, more details than a regular schmegular congressperson. Like, let's be real. And the president is prepped heavily before all of this. I want you to think back to when you were in school. Imagine if right before you took any type of test, quiz, exam, right? You had a staff of people come up and essentially give you every answer in order exactly how it's supposed to go and give you cheat sheets on top of that, and you still fail. Like, maybe if I put it in that perspective, y'all will get the position that we're sitting in right now. Still, Chrisley dug in, claiming, I understand that wholeheartedly. AOC, though, is also the Democrats' pick for the next election. Hold on. Hey, real quick, Democrats. Yeah, hey, girly pop. Hey. How you doing? Quick question. Uh, I know y'all keep blocking AOC from any leadership positions, right? Y'all just keep putting old fogies that are so out of touch in instead of her, and y'all keep trying to stifle her and, keep her muzzled. Is she y'all pick for 2028? You still working through that? You still working through that? Yeah, I remember. I remember the whole scandal. Yeah. DNC chair and all that jazz. So y'all didn't pick her. No. Yeah, I know it would make sense, for y'all to at least get comfortable with giving her a leadership role within the party before that. But Savannah Chrisley, yeah, yes, the Botox Bonita. Well, she was on The View. Oh, well, I know that her view is obstructed because she's not smart. I know that. Well, yes. Well, yeah. I mean, when all the only nutrients you're getting is through semen, it can be a little questionable. But I just want to confirm, y'all not choosing AOC? No, not at all. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate y'all answering the call. I'll let the people know. Thank you. Thank you. The Democrats said they don't want AOC. Let's not forget that AOC was vying for multiple different positions of power, of prestige, if you will, on Capitol Hill within the Democratic Party, and they were like, "No, little girl, go sit down." But I guess Savannah Chrisley, who's never been a Democrat, just a Demodick guzzler, knows the inside track. I guess. I don't. As many questions as I ask people all the time, all day long, but I was having a snack when you said, Stephen, oh, my bad, Chuckles, my bad. First of all, you should know by now. Although I tell y'all to bring a snack to this show, you really shouldn't have a snack during this show. The panel quickly pushed back at Chrisley's assessment, with Goldberg and Sarah Haynes shaking their heads while the Oscar-winning Ghost actress repeated, no, while Bayard added, you better tell that to Gavin Newsom. And can y'all stop basing your votes on swooning and who you find conventionally attractive? First of all, y'all want to borrow a pair of glasses because I'm very concerned about who y'all find attractive. Two, you do realize Gavin Newsom is just MAGA made with Splenda instead of full on sugar. Obama going to stand for president backed by Democrats. What does that have to do with Gavin Newsom? Are you unable to follow the conversation? Are you that stupid? Was that supposed to be your gotcha moment? Billy Madison, if you will. Maybe you should have stayed in the back of the classroom. Don't ever put your hand up again. Okay? Speak when somebody calls upon you. And that's not going to happen in this class. Okay? Okay. But yeah, Gavin Newsom is MAGA made with Splenda instead of straight up sugar in the raw. Like, he was shedding a tear over loose neck Kurt. Okay? Senator Trump, yeah, my son is. Why would the son of a quote unquote woke Democrat be swayed by Charlie Kirk? I want y'all to take that in. I want you to think about the conversations that child has been made privy to, the conversations that he is engaged with his parents, that he's overheard with his parents in the house, outside the house, with the friends and family members that come and visit and that he visits. I'm not saying that liberal parents or conservative parents cannot create the opposite. Everybody has free will. They can go out and think on their own and put 2 and 2 together and get 4 or get 54, whatever. Okay. But I want you to think about what Gavin says out loud and what you pay attention to. Because he makes y'all undercarriage moist. Or for some of y'all, makes y'all undercarriage stand at attention. And yes, I'm judging you. I'm judging you hard because y'all don't listen. I ran an experiment, which I do from time to time, on my TikTok page. I posed a question to MAGA. Non-MAGA came up and decided to answer their own question. I followed it up and said, did not connect the videos. I said, hey, I asked y'all a question yesterday. I asked MAGA a question. Y'all didn't answer it. Comment section. Oh, your hat. Oh my God, your glasses. Oh, your earring. Y'all don't pay attention. But y'all will swear up and down where we are simply because of the 20 some odd percent that voted for Trump. You got me fucked up. This was a group project. Some of y'all didn't show up for a day of working through the group project. Some of y'all showed up and never with an ink pen or a pencil. Some of y'all showed up and never brought a book. Some of y'all only brought snacks. Now, if you remember yesterday, we briefly discussed an interview that was not aired on broadcast TV, but it was aired on streaming services. Take a listen.
James Tallarico's interview on Stephen Colbert was never censored. They simply didn't want to give Jasmine Crockett equal time. That's all. That was the rule that they had to follow, or else they were going to get penalized, was they had to give equal time to Jasmine Crockett. And they decided, nope, we're not going to put it on broadcast, we're going to put it online. And then they trumped up this big old lie about how they're being censored when the memo that said they have to give equal time was dropped in January. That's right. They had a month to prepare for this, a month to offer equal time to Jasmine Crockett, and they fucking did it.
Now, yesterday, it didn't click. I didn't catch it right away until after we concluded the show. That if the whole thing was giving it, because I said just the FCC has no control over the internet. Just put it on the internet. And I also suggested, hey, if they're going to be a stickler for these rules when it comes to TV hosts and talk shows, then just invite both of them together. Whether you do it back to back or put them out on the proverbial couch side by side and talk to them together. But once again, White men are going to white men. They're going to stick together. They will tell you all day long they can't stand X, Y, and Z. They don't want blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they still want to preserve white manness. This is why I constantly bring up Rupert Murdoch, where they will play both sides of the fence to shake all of the money from y'all. Y'all cannot quote LBJ and not pay attention and really think about what the words that he said means. They will play both sides of the fence. They will tell you, oh yeah, this person is wrong, stand up for the revolution, and still get money from the other side. I told y'all the story of the gentleman that for a while I was mutuals with on TikTok until it was brought to my attention and I verified it myself that he had two different pages, that he would hashtag things to stay separate on two different sides of TikTok, and he had two different Etsy pages. He was profiting off of anti-MAGA and MAGA. He was leaving no money behind. That is harmful. It is harmful, especially based upon what one person looks like. All righty. Coming from the AP, Trump gets pledges for Gaza, reconstruction, and troop commitments in inaugural Board of Peace talks. Now, before you go, oh, see, he's doing such a great job. He got a pledge is not the actual money. We know that Trump has a long history of pledging things himself and never actually paying the money. We know that Trump said that, oh, the White House ballroom that's going to go up in 3,000 never was going to be fully funded by pledges from people outside the government, and not a single dime has been paid. I need y'all to stop getting moist in the pants and weak in the knees over certain words. President Donald Trump Sr. announced Thursday at the inaugural Board of Peace meeting that 9 members have agreed to pledge $7 billion toward a Gaza relief package, and 5 countries have agreed to deploy troops as part of an international stabilization force for the war-battered Palestinian territory. Keep in mind, to be a member of this board, you got to pay. You got to pay to play. So where's everybody getting these unlimited funds? Oh, did we forget about that? Taz Farms didn't forget. While lauding the pledges, Trump faces the unresolved challenge of disarming Hamas, a sticking point that threatens to delay or even derail the Gaza ceasefire plan that his administration notched as a major foreign policy win. I want to know when Hamas was armed. Hamas is not a foreign entity. It's not a country. It's not a military force in negotiations with other countries. Nobody is sending military aid to Hamas. Hamas is basically MacGyvering its way through trying to protect and sustain itself. And if you want to disarm and get rid of Hamas, treat Palestinian people like human beings. You cannot keep trying to decimate a society and completely eliminate their existence from this mortal plane and think that there wouldn't be a resistance, that there wouldn't be an uprising, that people wouldn't come together and have plans for a military, a government, economic structure, because they're like, we can handle ourselves. Leaving things in y'all hands is detrimental. Like, that is how a revolution works. This is why we can't get anywhere in the United States. Y'all have concepts of a plan. Instead of screaming, ACAB, defund the police. What is the plan when we do dismantle it? What is the replacement? How are we going to implement this? What is the time frame? You're not thinking about that because you're looking at everything like it's a damn Hallmark movie. Oh, child. Lady Graham is at it again. Coming from The Independent, Lindsey Graham accused of derailing diplomatic meeting with sexist insult to Danish Prime Minister. Lindsey Graham makes certain faux pas because he's doing too much to try to prove that he's a manly alpha man. Senator Lindsey Graham allegedly caused a spectacle during diplomatic talks in Munich by lobbying a sexist insult at Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. Graham allegedly addressed Frederiksen as "little lady" as he looked her straight in the eye and sneered at her, according to an account from the Danish newspaper Berlingske, cited by the Daily Beast. Y'all not hitting these men in the mouth enough for me. You can take that metaphorically or you can take that literally. Y'all not hitting them in the mouth enough for me. Before you go, Taz, we can't do that. Do y'all know how sensitive men are? They cry in the car often. They are sensitive as shit. Trust me. You want to find out? Say something back to them that they said to you. Watch how quickly you see the panic and the fear, and they turn into little boys all up in the eye area. They'll say something to you and have a good chuckle about it. You take 3 breaths, say back to them, I don't like that. That's very offensive to me. This is why I have the rule. Don't ask for something you can't give. Y'all not hitting these men in the mouth enough for me. They done got too comfortable thinking that they can get away with shit. They want to be the pretty passenger princess, and they want to be kept and all this other shit. Well, if you want to do that, then you got to you want the perks that you believe all us women walking around get. First of all, no, this is a tiered system. Being a woman is tiered. There is a hierarchy to this shit, okay? Number 1. Number 2, the amount of things we got to put up with to get the few little trinket trophies, benefits that do come out, you're going to have to put up with that shit. Knock these mofos in the face. Like I said, metaphorically or literally. Members of the U.S. House and Senate and Greenlandic Prime Minister James Frederick Nielsen were also at the meeting, which was held to discuss Trump's threats to annex the autonomous territory of Denmark, which is a NATO ally. Lindsay. Lynn. Okay. Trump's not going to screw you. Okay. He's not going to bend you over. And even if he did, from court records, it ain't big enough to make it past your flat booty cheeks, okay? He's not going to tickle your booty cat. Okay, so you can pack up your cooter biscuits and take them on home. You saying these things trying to disrespect this woman? Absolutely not. You need to seek help. Get a therapist and work through your jealousy of women. Because that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. Closing out today. If you have become overwhelmed with Epstein, Maxwell, all of these things, this will be your time to bid adieu. Okay. If not, here we go. West Virginia alleges Apple failed to detect, report child sexual abuse material. West Virginia, in a new lawsuit, is accusing Apple of knowingly permitting its iCloud platform to be used to store and distribute child sexual abuse material. The state's attorney general, John McCuskey filed the complaint in the Circuit Court of Mason County on Thursday, demanding the company adopt effective detection measures for this illicit content. Preserving the privacy of child predators is absolutely inexcusable, and more importantly, it violates West Virginia law, McCuskey said in a press release. Since Apple has so far refused to police themselves and do the morally right thing, I'm filing the lawsuit to demand Apple follow the law, report these images, and stop re-victimizing children by allowing these images to be stored and shared. I'm going to say something, and some of y'all are going to take offense because y'all don't know the order of operations to things. And oh well, you can't whoop my ass, so let's go. This is a slippery slope that nobody wants. A company, the only way that a company would be able to determine what is what and who's breaking the law as to what they are saving in their devices would be to hire people to monitor said devices. So somebody would go through every picture that you take and store. And before you go, well, Taz, they can write a program for that. Yeah, programs are flawed. Let's not forget that there was a program that a school was using in conjunction with their cameras and almost got a young man killed because while he was sitting outside having lunch, they thought that he had a firearm instead of a component of his lunch because he was black. Not to mention, you have to have a person there for checks and balances. And what do we know about people? Especially the male of the species. This is why you don't see a lot of men working in funeral homes. There's a reason why they're not hired. Let's not forget that when Kobe died, who took pictures and had them on their phone? Let's not forget what happened to Marilyn Monroe's body after death. I need y'all to think. So, how is it the point of, how's it the responsibility of the company for these people? We're dumb. Who is we? This is one of those. If it don't apply, let it fly. You're not a hurt dog. Don't holler, honey. Don't do it. So, before we get on the bandwagon and go, hey, West Virginia is right, I want you to think about what you have in your phone. And I'm assuming that y'all were not breaking the law and watching this show. I'm going to assume that. Yeah, I got what you said about men. Like I said, you're not a hit dog. Don't holler. As far as I know, you're not. Let's not do that. Do you really want somebody going through that? And depending on the person, what would be considered sexually explicit? Because a few weeks ago, there were two women going at it over a woman posting a picture of her niece in a cute little swimming suit and another woman accusing her of spreading sexually explicit content. You're not that type of man, sir. So yeah, we have to be careful of walking ourselves into 1984. You know, you know. And why are we more concerned about companies snitching on people instead of the people who are around criminals, around pedophiles? That's when it comes to sexual assault, sir, not when it comes to people being freaking stupid. In quite a few areas, women and femme presenting people are stupid too. So yeah. Now, the Attorney General for West Virginia also pointed to discrepancies between Apple's and other companies' federally mandated reports of child sexual abuse material. Once again, it is a slippery slope as to how you would pinpoint these things, how you would do it. Especially since, and I'm going to say this, and like I said, I'm not defending any creeps, but far too often there are too many people. I ain't paying him no attention. We're not derailing the conversation right now. That get into arguments online with fully grown adults about how old they are. So that's what we have. As always, if you missed any parts of today's show, you can view them in their entirety on Substack, on YouTube at GCPR, or at TazJ77. Also, like I said, if you can see me, the graphic behind me is available at tazisms.com. And keep in mind, site-wise, till the end of the month, BHM26 will get you 20% off your entire purchase site-wide. Do not forget, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, Superplex Party. Well, they will be discussing all things wrestling, if you like that type of thing. And at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, Conversations with T. Nathan. I will be seeing you all again at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on TikTok to continue with the series Learning Through Literature as we continue to go through Virginia Roberts Giuffre's memoir, Nobody's Girl. Other than that, make sure you are following all of your favorite GCPR hosts and shows everywhere across the web, as many places as possible. And if you like history, books, or little quirky, something, make sure you check out the links in my bio at TazJ and follow along everywhere. Continue the conversation. And as always, darling, H1 teach one, H1 reach one. Now, don't do anything that will require bail, not in this economy, and most importantly, it only requires bail should you get caught. Alrighty, y'all be good, or at least good enough. Till tomorrow. For just $10, you can commission a custom novelty commercial from any GCPR host. Want to hear them pitch a romantic getaway to Crow Pussy, Mississippi? Done. Need a shout out from Saint Swole Meat Vacations and Dating Services? We're on it. From the somber services of Boab Funeral Homes to the questionable listings of the $10 House Matchmaking, or even a high-flying plug for Cranibus Catering, the script is yours.